Welcome to the New Author Podcast, a weekly podcast diary starring Jerry Evanoff and Rich Casey. Join them weekly as they talk about writing, publishing, and marketing their books. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the... Oh, I started it over. I can never get this right,
to
Rich.
the New Author Podcast.
I can't get it right. I try every time. I can't get it right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the New Author Podcast. Today is Monday, September 15th. This is episode number 327. I am one of the hosts of this podcast, Jerry Evanoff, and with me, as he is each week, sporting the colors of my favorite team, even though I chose to wear a shirt that rivals his favorite team, is Rich Casey. Rich, how are you?
Yeah, that just shows you what kind of a big guy I am. So,
yeah. You're a stand-up guy.
Yeah, stand-up guy. I tell you what, it's been a profoundly disappointing week for me in lots of different ways. But I just noticed as you were playing the intro, something interesting that looking at my picture, my normal eye opening looks like I'm about ready to fall asleep. But if I go like this, I look really startled.
Yeah, you got to find that happy medium.
Yeah, I guess. I remember my dad, when it was about my age, he actually had to have his eyelids lifted because they were drooping so much that he couldn't get a driver's license.
Really?
Yeah, because they were blocking his vision. Mine aren't like that. I think I'm just naturally got kind of squinty eyes.
Wow. Okay.
My son's friends used to tell him when they saw me on campus when I was teaching at LSU that I looked, what did he say? I looked formidable or something like that.
Okay.
Just the way I looked.
Formidable. That's a good word. Well, I am peeking up here every now and then at this television because I have football on, and it's a Monday night game that's starting an hour and a half earlier than usual because there's two Monday night games. And there are a lot of players who mean a lot to me for fantasy. In fact, one of them, I believe, just got a run that gave me a win in one of my leagues. So that's nice. Good. So that's good. So I'm going to be peeking up here every now and then. So don't think I'm not paying attention.
Okay.
I'm half paying attention. So.
Well, I mean, if you're looking up, I mean, people who are watching will just think that you're being considerate.
Yes.
You're thinking about what you're going to say.
I'm thinking. I'm pontificating. I'm pondering is what I was
pondering. You're pondering. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pondering the world. So let me jump into my stats for last week. The goal for last week, and I'll start with the goal first. So the goal for last week was to finish book one. I want to make a couple little changes here and there to book one, and also rewrite chapter 6 for book 1.5, which is my prequel novella. And I succeeded on part of that. I did finish book 1, the small edits I want to make, but I failed miserably on the book 1.5. And I'll talk about why, because I hear people say like the phrase, they married up, they're what do they say? They're kicking, they outkick their coverage, all the things. I believe that I failed successfully with my goal.
Okay.
This week, and I'll talk about why when I get to it. So I did write, strangely enough. I did not expect this. I wrote 2,307 new words. And again, to tease things out here, I'll talk about where they went when I get into my weekly recap. My word count for the year is up. Again, I've already passed my goal of 145,000 for the year. My word count is up to 150,036, and my words per hour stayed right where it was at 1,290.
Nice. I mean, you may eventually catch me because I did absolutely nothing over this last week. It was, like I said, a profoundly disappointing week. And I was disappointed in my fellow sojourners. I was disappointed in my workmates. I was disappointed in my branch head. Just disappointed in everybody. So I never felt like I got home and I didn't feel like doing anything. So instead, I lost myself in a bunch of books. I've been reading. I've got two novels and one collection of short stories going at the same time. So
we'll have to talk. I remember to talk about that too. Good thought on that. Yeah. I didn't put it in the outline, but I got 2 books going.
I finally picked up some writing by China Mieville. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but he's real literary kind of writer. Hasn't written all that much, but he's got quite a name in the book world. And his short stories are weird. I guess as befitting a literary writer. But yeah, they're just strange stuff. But I've been enjoying that, and I've picked up a book by Jane Addams, I believe, the first in a series of a UK British mysteries set in the 1930s, I believe, 1920s or 1930s. And that's been pretty interesting too, because the whole thing is taking place in a lower working class kind of environment. So it's interesting. It's it's almost like Dick and Ash in terms of the way people.
Well, what a great word.
Yeah, in terms of the way people live, and so he goes to a lot of trouble to describe the plight of the working man and stuff. So, or she does. So yeah, it's been pretty interesting as far as the reading goes. But yeah, no change on the cozy mystery novel. Didn't even touch it. Didn't even open it this week. Didn't even open it at all. And my total words for the year is still stuck on 168,000. If I don't get on here soon, that 200,000 word goal might be in jeopardy. But we'll see.
You read so much smarter than I do.
Well, you know what's happening, and maybe I shouldn't say this on air, but I'm going to anyways, is that now that I'm working at the library, people probably don't realize this, but libraries have to cull their collections, and we do it constantly, because otherwise we have no physical room for the new books that are coming out. So if a book hasn't been touched in 5 years, it gets gone. It gets gone. And we have a Friends of the Library that has used book sales and stuff, but they don't want to sell library books because people don't want to buy them for whatever reason. They don't like either the call numbers on the spines, or the fact that there's pockets on the inside, or the fact that they're stamped. Or I have no idea why, but they say they don't even want them. So the only books I send them are the books that people donate that are in really good shape. The other ones, the library books that we call, some of them go to this outfit called Better World, which is a used book online store that kind of gives the libraries a kickback. But the rest of them, they just get dumpstered. So
wow. I assume you mean that they go upstate to a house with a big backyard and a fence where they can run. That's what you mean, right? You
would think so. No, they get buried in a landfill someplace.
Well, okay. Okay.
But so anyways, the whole point of that meandering story is the fact that I get first pick, because if it's gonna go out the door, or even if it comes in as a donation, I've decided that if I want it, I take it. So I've been bringing home boxes of books. Pretty soon, if I don't curtail myself, this whole house will be filled with books in boxes that nobody's looking at.
This is how Hoarders episode starts.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And books, books are the kind of things that if you hoard, you're kind of looked at, you're not looked down upon. You're looked at like, you have some kind of a literary bent or a creative bent or something, You're protecting the words.
And if you throw a book away, like let's say you get too many, you want to dumpster a couple of them on your own, I feel like you are looked down upon by people who probably don't even read as much as you.
Yeah, right.
Like it's this horrible thing to throw away books. Because I had a dumpster out, I don't know, 8 or 9, maybe 10, 11 years ago, where I was doing some cleaning in here and I was getting some construction done. And I threw away some books, but I did it when no one outside was looking because I felt terrible. Yeah. So,
well, and people do feel bad about it because, we get a lot of donations come into the library. My guess, 300-400 books a week, maybe something like that. And a lot of them are in just horrible shape. Yeah. And you don't know why people are doing
your ringtone. Them. You always have such a high. Look at that. Your ringtone is smarter than mine. Come on, Rich.
There's my son. I better just turn this off. Actually, he's going to call back again. Let me. Yeah. So anyways, that's the whole point is that I got a house full of books and I'm reading them, and I haven't written it all in last week.
And then go over the titles of them and the author again, and like a 1-sentence summary if you know what it is.
The Jane Addams, I think it's Jane Addams book, is called The Murder Book, and the 1-sentence summary is a early 19th or early 20th century inspector and his sergeant are investigating the case of a triple homicide.
Oh, okay.
And just in a lower working class neighborhood. That's a China Mieville is just the title of the book is 3 Moments of an Explosion, and it's a book of short stories. The opening short story, which is really good, it's about icebergs that suddenly appear in the sky all around the world, and
Okay.
and how people would cope with it. And it's interesting. It's kind of like that movie Don't Look Up. People just after a while they just kind of go and pretend that they're just not even there. And
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Don't Look Up or what. I
I
think
have
it's
not.
what it was called.
No.
It's about when the moon loses its orbit and it's going to crash into Earth.
Oh, I
And,
have not.
and
Okay,
people
not.
just after a while they just stop looking up because they don't want to see it.
That's what I would do. I bury my head in the sand every day. I don't watch the news. I've watched. It's so funny. I think I saw it before when and I say it's so funny in a weird way, but when somebody will say to me, "Did you see that shooting that happened?" and I'll be like, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
Yeah, yeah.
Because I never watch the news.
Well,
I wouldn't look up. I'd be looking down.
Yeah, you're better off. You're better off.
Absolutely.
Because that's part of my profound disappointment is related to news items.
Oh,
and then the other book I'm reading. Oh, I'm reading it's not another novel. It's a nonfiction book. I'm reading Johnny B. Truant's Artisan Author.
Oh yeah.
Because his Artisan University starts tomorrow, and I'm signed up for it. So,
oh, nice! You have to talk about that. That's exciting.
Next 10 weeks. It's twice a week. We meet online, and yeah, so it'll be interesting. Yeah, I'll fill you in what the first week was like.
Yeah,
next week.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'll talk about the two books that I currently am reading when I get to them in my weekly outline here, and they're not nearly as smart as your books, but they're fun. So we'll see what happens here. So let's get back into my weekly recap here. So last Tuesday, I did work from home on this day, and at lunch, I did edit chapter 3 of book 9. And the reason I did this is because I was going to read this in the Writers Club. I ran it through Grammarly, made some more changes, and then pasted it into our Writers Club Google Drive, which doing it 2 days beforehand is pretty good for me. I usually do it like either Wednesday or Thursday. And I was able to get it done Tuesday and never have to think about it, the next couple days, which was great. I did go up 117 words. So the total word count for book 9 went up to 40,777. In the evening, not much, played my football game, had some dinner, went to bed. Wednesday, I was in the office. I took my lunch around 11:40 and spent maybe 15 minutes looking at the inconsistencies that were found by edits by Tony when she did my story Bible. I did make one change, but I only had about 15 minutes because we had our book club meeting at noon on that. So I was able. I think I said last week there were 2 changes in there. There were actually like 6 or 7 changes in there, and I went to the first one list, didn't really understand it. Went to the second one, made that change, and then shut the laptop and went to our book club meeting. We talked about James. Again, we had, I think, 5 people show up. Again, it's a little disappointing, only 5 people. One of them didn't read the book at all, and the rest of us talked about it. One of them was like halfway through it. They talked about it. Somebody brought up Huck Finn and how they thought about reading it but didn't. And I was like, well, good news, because I did. I read it on the plane ride home. So we talked about that a little bit. Then it was time to come up for what our next book was going to be for September. And, we were kind of hemming and hawing. There's a spreadsheet out there. I put 4 books on the spreadsheet, but they were all really long, and it was already September 10th. We were looking for something a little shorter. And one of the guy who didn't read James just happened to bring up out of nowhere, oh, how about this one? And he held the book up in the air, and it's called Home is Where the Bodies Are, and it's by someone by the name of, I think it's Geneva Rose. And I'm going to read you as soon as I bring it up here, I'm going to read you the blurb and tell you what I was thinking as I was reading it. Where's Amazon? Here it is. So when I was reading the blurb for this, I was reading, okay, after their mother passes, 3 estranged siblings reunite to sort out her estate. And I'm like, oh God, are we going to get some kind of a weird drama here? Beth, the oldest, never left home. She stayed with her mom, cared for her until the very end. Nicole, the middle child, has been kept at arm's length due to her ongoing battle with a serious drug addiction. And I hear, oh God, we got a drug addiction in here too. Like, I'm already hating this. Michael, the youngest, lives out of state. Now, at the same time that I'm reading this, one of the guy online who's in his office, he joined through Teams, he's reading it at the same time. Michael, the youngest, lives out of state. Now, he's reading it to himself. I'm reading it to myself. We're not reading it out loud. Lives out of state and hasn't been back to their small Wisconsin town since their father ran out. So their father ran out. So now we got family problems. And I'm just like, this is going to be awful. And then I get to the next paragraph. While going through their parents' belongings, the siblings stumble upon a collection of home videos and decide to revisit those happier memories. However, here we go. And I'm reading this, and like he makes a noise at the same time I hit those words. However, the nostalgia is cut short when one of the VHS tapes reveals a night back in 1999 that none of them have any recollection of. Oh, interesting. On the screen, their father appears covered in blood. What follows is a dead body and a pact between their parents to get rid of it before the video abruptly ends. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I think we have something here. So I'm actually pretty excited about getting this. It looks like it's going to be a fun read. I think it's got, what is it? It says, what is the genre? I think horror is part of the genre, like horror, criminal, mystery or something like that. Now, I'm not a huge horror fan, but it does seem like a really interesting plot. So I'm looking forward to reading this, and I'll probably start reading it this week. So yeah, that happened. That was fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
After work, I didn't do much of anything. Made dinner, looked at some fantasy football teams, went to bed. Again, I'm still in the middle of this 3-week super busy time that ended finally this morning, where I'm getting back to normal starting today, or starting tomorrow. Thursday, I'm back in the office, and so it was early on this morning when I'm looking at my calendar trying to decide what I wanted to do, and I decided I'm going to do a half day the next day. So that was a Friday. So at lunch, I went back to those inconsistencies and worked on them. I made some small changes, most of them to chapter 15. And then I ran that through Grammarly and I pasted it back into Atticus. And I got to say, Atticus has a lot of changes made to it. It actually has some interesting syncing things that it does to make sure that it's loading correctly. There's a few other things off the top of my head. I can't remember what it was, but it looks different. It's just different, but it is still not ready to write. It's just not. Go to Scrivener, go to Word, go to Google Sheets, go to Noveler, go to Novel Crafter, all the things I've used in the past. When you type, it's smooth. When you put the arrow down key, the arrow moves down immediately. If I hit it 3 times, it goes down, down, down. It's there. Atticus still has this lagginess about it that it's had since I started using it years ago. I think in 2021 is when I started using it. And back then it had to do with Grammarly as an extension in my Chrome browser. And they said, just disable Grammarly. And I said, I use Grammarly. I don't think I should have to disable one thing to use another thing. And by the way, when I disabled Grammarly, it worked. I don't have Grammarly in my Chrome browser now, and it's laggy again. So I don't know what the problem is. It may not do this for everyone. Most people may have a great time using it. For me, it's laggy, and there's no way I can write with it. But I love it for formatting, and I will continue to use it for formatting.
Have you tried using it in something other than Chrome, or just on your Chrome?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. No, this isn't a Chromebook. This is the Chrome browser.
Oh, okay,
on my Windows machine. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so if you use an Edge, maybe it works. I mean, Edge is built off of Chrome. They're built off the same kind of back end. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference. It could be, I have 8 or 9, maybe 10 browser extensions up there that I use. I don't want to get rid of them. I use them all. Yeah. So, and again, like I said, I shouldn't have to deactivate one program to use another. That's a problem with the program. So I don't know what the problem is. I've only tried it I tried it on 2 computers, my home computer and my laptop, and it's the same both cases. So who knows?
Before you go on to Friday, I just looked up Geneva Rose, and she's put out, looks like, about 10 books in the last 5 years. And this Home is Where the Bodies Are is her next to last book that she put out. So it should be a pretty good write anyways. And, in terms of the writing, it'll be interesting to see. She's got one coming out later this year called Dating After the End of the World. That might be interesting too.
Okay.
Sounds like a post-apocalyptic something or other.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I'm still, like I said, I'm still using Atticus to format. So I'm still pasting stuff in there, doing what I need to do to get it, because it's great for formatting. I mean, you can literally format on the fly. You can choose all the different things as you're going and see how they look. There's like previewers. It's great. It's not there for writing. And the other reason it wouldn't be there for writing is, as I've said many times, I keep going back to Scrivener. Scrivener has the best UI. It has I love that I can do all this stuff out on the left side with plotting and characters and all that stuff, where I can't do that in any of the online apps that exist.
And I again, as you were talking there, I was looking at Geneva Rose's bio, and I'm sure you're going to love the book, because one of her major pastimes is watching The Office on repeat.
Nice. I've been known to do that a few times. I really hope there's like hidden references, like character names,
little
that she just
Easter
throws in there
eggs,
for
yeah.
fun. Little Bob Vance refrigeration or something, just something. Yeah, I hope so. Oh, it's great. Because I kind of do that too. All right. Anyway, okay. So Friday, took the half day. I decided. I know I didn't say it last week in the podcast, but I decided Thursday morning to go ahead and take the half day Friday. And I ended up working. Let's see, what did I do? Went to Buffalo Wild Wings. I know that. I felt pretty good about book one. I went into Atticus, took a little around at some of the chapters. There was one more thing I wanted to add. I wanted to add a reference to the police officer that is going to play a major role starting in book two all the way through almost to the end. I just wanted him in there briefly. So I added a scene where when Sam first meets the police, he tells them, "We'll call Officer Beaumont. He can verify who I am." And then later on in the book, the next time the police and Sam are together, she says something effectively, "I called your Officer Beaumont. Sorry about your parents." And that's all it is. Mm-hmm. Just a sentence here and there that I wanted to add because I think it adds a little bit more to those characters for later on down the road. So then you get to the problem that I have. So I ran that through Grammarly, and there's 28 chapters, I think, in this book. I ran it through Grammarly, and then there were like 10 to 12 grammar issues that came up in Grammarly. Most of them were Oxford comma, which I hate the Oxford comma, so I just let it be. Some of them were, I forget what it is. There's a thing that Grammarly doesn't seem to understand. I don't remember off the top of my head what it is, so I always end up dismissing it. But there were some spelling mistakes. There were a couple times the words were like mixed up. Mm-hmm. Instead of, been there, been, how my dyslexic brain kicked in sometimes when I type. I was kind of surprised at that. So I went back and ran chapter 1 through Grammarly, which was a mistake because that meant I was going to run all 28 through Grammarly.
Right.
And that's literally all I did at Buffalo Wild Wings that day. And it took me like 2 hours, but by the time I was done, I was like, okay, this is great. I love it. So that happened, unfortunately. So then came home, and now book one I'm calling done. It's finished. It's ready for me to just hit the button that says pub. Give me a PDF, give me an EPUB or Mobi or whatever it is, and republish them when you're ready. Now I can't do that until I get book 1.5 done because I need to update the link in the back of it, right, for book 1.5. And I've been kicking around book 1.5 for a while. Got home that night. I think I played my football game Friday. I think I might have played my football game and then unboxed the new season that I bought, 1983. Here's one of the envelopes right here, 1983 nice. Minnesota. Yep. I bought 1983. I'm very excited by this. I created like a March Madness style bracket tournament for this that I'm going to play with these teams. That way it guarantees I play at least every team once and I can work my way to a champion. So I'm pretty excited about that. But then in the evening, again, it's kicking around in my head, book 1.5. It's not a murder mystery. It is a Indiana Jones style fetch quest action adventure that really doesn't belong in this series.
Okay.
So I decided instead of rewriting chapter 6, I was going to rewrite the whole book, which,
okay,
is probably not smart, but that's what I'm going to do. I have a deadline for book 2, remember, December 16th. And I'm pushing off I'm pushing off starting the editing of it by like 2 weeks by doing it. So got my laptop and I sat down with ChatGPT and I gave it every chapter. And then I typed, because you can do it's like 8,000 words. It's very small. There's 8 chapters. And there's 7 chapters. So I was going to rewrite chapter 6. So then I typed a whole bunch of background about chapter 1, the stories. And I basically said, I need a murder mystery. I don't want to. And I told it where I wanted to take place. I want it to be small, only a couple suspects. I'm thinking to the Agatha Christie short stories that all the hour-long episodes of the show were built off of.
Right.
Of Perot were built off. So I worked back and forth with it. I was, as always with ChatGPT, most of the stuff you get is terrible, but it really gets your brain going for your own stuff. It's really interesting. It's like what do they say when it kind of kicks you into gear, kind of, right, as you're doing that. By the time I was done that evening, I had a new short story, 8 to 10 chapters, less than 10,000 words. Had most of it set up. I wasn't 100% finished with it, but I was like 99% finished with it. Characters, I had stuff that builds on the series. I did keep part of chapter 1 and part of chapter 7 and a little bit of chapter 6. I did keep those because they figure in the whole story, the arc of the whole series. It's just all the stuff in between. Instead of having that fetch quest, it's more of a murder mystery.
So the other words you just have to bin, or is it something
Yeah,
you could
they're gone.
turn into a different story?
Nah, they're out of here.
Oh, okay.
They're done. They're. I don't even know if they're that good. I feel like I rushed it maybe back then just to try to get a novella made. They're not good. I mean, maybe people read it. I mean, I had a bunch of downloads to it because I put it on Book Funnel when I first wrote it, but then I took it off there pretty quick. And I stopped pushing it, so it's up there, and I just quit pushing it into their promotion. So, all right. So the plan now is to try to write this one over the next 2 weeks. Saturday morning, I was up early. It was payday, which is nice. Lots of checkbook and budget balancing and bill paying, which is great. I've got plans to pay off my car 2 weeks from tomorrow, which is nice.
Great.
And then I left the house around 10 a.m. I went to Micro Center first, which is my favorite store.
You bought nothing? You bought
nothing? Yeah, I bought nothing. I like walking around and just looking at stuff. That's my favorite store to do that, and I bought nothing.
Certainly could have used an upgraded camera or a cable or something.
I had a router in my hand for a good period of time.
Oh, okay.
I need to do a little more research on routers before I buy this thing to understand what I'm buying. So I didn't want to buy something in my head all randomly like that without looking into it first.
That was
my router's pretty old. So
when I upgraded my Cox cable internet, the modem is a self-contained modem and router. So that's just one thing I don't have to worry about now.
Yeah. Mine is pretty old. Mine's got to be 8, 9, 10 years old, and
oh wow!
And I'm sure there's better stuff out there now, and more. My guess is there's more secure things out there now. Mine's probably not the
well. And they usually don't last. They usually don't last that long because they get so hot they burn themselves out.
So I had it turned off for a couple of years when I was using the Verizon wireless up here. I wasn't using that router. And then before that, when I had Time Warner, I had their router for a couple of years. So I actually had it turned off. The funny thing about that is I had it turned off for a couple of years. When I plugged it back in, most of the devices in my house recognized it because I had used it in the past, which was nice. Yeah, cool. My router's name, by the way, is Joe Don Baker.
Okay.
I just named it after a great actor from Fletch and a lot of Mystery Science Theater 3000 movies. He died within the last year, so which is sad. But yeah, I named my router is actually Joe Don Baker.
My old router used to be named Winter Squash.
Nice. So I after that I went to there's a Five Guys right down the street. I went there. I was gonna sit there and write, but I decided why not go somewhere where I'm gonna have some nice scenery and enjoy things. I just went to the golf course. We had a 2:50 tee time, 2:50 tee time. I got there about 12:15. It was a nice day outside. It looked like it might rain, but it never did. I went out on the patio, and they have metal tables and chairs, and I sat there. I had a Pepsi. I got a Pepsi. Sat there. There were people, and I could see the first hole, so I could just watch people tee off every 10 minutes. And I ended up sitting there writing for I don't know what was it? How many hours did I write for? Was it 105 minutes? I think is what it ended up being.
Yeah, not like quite that. 2 hours, almost 2 hours.
So I rewrote chapter 1 of book 1.5, and then I wrote half of chapter 2. And it was 2000. Did I not put it on here? Oh, I didn't put how many words I wrote. Well, that's disappointing of me. Hang on, I got to pull that up because I was pretty proud of that. It was like an hour and 45 minutes. There it is. It's like an hour and 45 minutes, and I got over 2,000 words, which I was pretty surprised about. Yeah. Although I'm worried about my chapter 1 being too long before we get to there's a lot of talking that I'm worried about being too much. So I might have to rework that when I go to edit it. 2,307 words. There you go. 2307 in 105 minutes. So an hour and 45.
I'm going to talk about a new podcast later, but that I found. But the woman was interviewing an author named Sarah Collins, and she says that her agents and editors that she works with always tell her that her dialogue and stuff is way too long. There's too much dialogue. And she finally figured out why. It's because she uses dialogue to indicate subtext on her first pass through when she's writing. So a lot of subtext that really should be just kind of hinted at in the narrative, she's using dialogue to make explicit because she's explaining it to herself as she's going along. Right. And that might be what you're doing too.
Yeah, I think my dialogue is too long, but not because of that. I think it's too long because I just have too much of it. I think I'm just meandering. It's like I want to get stuff out to the reader about Sam's past, but maybe
Right.
before the inciting incident in chapter 1 isn't the place for it to happen. So,
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's what I'm doing wrong. I'm not sure, but I think that's
So,
what I'm doing wrong.
info
So,
dump through dialogue. That's interesting.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I did 23:07 in that hour and 45. Then it was time to golf. And I'm at the course that I complain about every week. I hate this course. And that's where we golf because we couldn't get anything in the morning. Everything was booked. And it's just like, well, I shot an 82 2 weeks ago. Let's see what I can do with this course with this new swing. I mean, did exactly what I did with the course with the old swing. I shot a 50 on the front nine, and then a 44 on the back was nice. So I ended up with a 94, which isn't horrible for that course, a 94. But it's also not below 90, which is disappointing. So,
Well, but the question is were your shots down the middle of the fairway, or were you?
No.
Oh, okay.
And the other problem with that is, have you ever seen like the movie or the TV show where the girl or the guy takes the brush, they put it in their hair, and then they're like, as they try to get through their hair. That's what their rough is like.
Okay. Yeah.
And there were shots that I hit a shot on number 3 right down the middle, but because there's not a flat spot to be found at that course, it literally just rolled to the left and just down the hill a little bit, right into like this far off the fairway into the rough. Yeah. And now I get hit out of that, and the hole's ruined, and it's just
it's like playing a links course in Scotland or something.
I think it might be harder.
Okay.
Oh God. Yeah, I think it's just harder. So I shot a 94, which is fine. I mean, whatever. Who cares? Got home around 8 a.m. Didn't do much of anything, or 8 p.m. Didn't do much of anything after that. I went to bed pretty early. Sunday, I woke up around 6:30, and then around 9:30, I left for my drive to Columbus to hang out with a friend of the podcast and friend of me, Brian, who him and I had plans that night to go see Weird Al Yankovic. So got there around 12, had some pizza, watched football for about 5.5 hours, and then we were off to see Weird Al. And I love Weird Al. He had an opener called Puddles Pity Party. Puddles Pity Party. Puddles was a clown.
That's the clown. Yeah, I know that from YouTube.
Wait, you know who he is?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
on YouTube. I didn't know that.
He's all over the place on YouTube. Yeah.
Never ran across him before.
Yeah.
He did about 10 songs that were all sad, but yet they were all funny at the same time. It's the weirdest thing. So that was fine. Then there was about a 20-minute break, and then Weird Al came out and did everything that I wanted Weird Al to do. I love Weird Al. He had some great medleys. He did some polka. He did a couple of things that were just originals because he's such a great singer, and then he did all the things that you want him to do. He ended the show with the 2 Star Wars songs that I love so much, and it was great. I was so happy. So happy that I got to see Billy Joel and Weird Al in the last couple of years. Those are 2 of my favorite artists of all time.
Living the life, man. Living the life.
Oh yeah. And then I got up early this morning. Brian and I went to breakfast. I got home by 11. The plan was to work from 12 to 4. So I took a half a day vacation today. And I had to work from 12 to 4. Well, I got home about 11. So the first thing I did was a Walmart Plus grocery order.
Ah, yeah.
So I have food for the week. And I tell you, I'm really liking that so far. It's 2 weeks in. And it's, they have a big enough selection to give me what I want. The prices seem better. Then you tip, and it ends up being about the same anyway, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with tipping the driver. They're doing something I don't want to do. So
sure.
Did some laundry, cleaned up my house a little bit, and then I started working about 11:45. Logged off at 4, and then kind of cleaned up the house a little bit more. I made dinner, watched a little bit of YouTube, and now we're podcasting. And when we're done tonight, I'm going to go watch the rest of this game. There's 46 seconds left to go in the second quarter, so we'll get done right around some point in the third quarter. And maybe I'll even stay up a little bit and watch the beginning of the next game, but it's not starting until 10, which is disappointing.
Really? Wow, that's late.
Yeah, 10 Eastern. Yeah, it's Las Vegas and Los Angeles, the Chargers and Raiders.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I really would like to watch it, but I got to get up at 5 a.m. for work, so I'm not going to be watching it.
No.
So there you go. That was my week. I think it was a pretty successful week, even though I failed the goal of having book 1.5 done because I decided to rewrite 1.5 and make it better, make it fit into the series better. And I think that's just going to be overall a better thing for the series. I think more people are going to enjoy it when they are in book 1 and they see that it's a freebie. They can get in the back of book 1, and it'll take them into book 2 pretty well. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Well, any week that you get to see Weird Al, you can't complain about the week. Doesn't matter what else happens. So
this is 100% true. And Puddles, apparently, who is famous. I have no idea.
Yeah, he's it's something. Well, my week, wait.
In the YouTube videos that you watched, have you watched some of it?
Yeah.
Does he have a love for Kevin Costner?
I don't recall that.
because that was a big song where he just did this whole. Was it Sweet? He did a parody. He did a song to the music of Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. It wasn't a parody, but it was just that he used the music, and it was his tribute to Kevin Costner. It was hilarious.
I'll have to look that
He
up.
also
It's probably on YouTube.
I'm sure he also did. What was the other song he did a pair? I don't. Oh, he did the. That's what it was. It wasn't Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. He did a parody of that song, but he did the Titanic song.
Oh,
The wherever you are, my heart will go on. That song. He did that, and then the big screen just kept showing Kevin Costner like in every acting role that exists. So it was very funny. Yeah,
that is funny. My week, like I said, I did nothing. It's like what me, right? I just worked Tuesday through today, and I had yesterday off, but I didn't do anything yesterday. I did go outside in the garden and try to start hacking out the irises that are overtaking our settling pond. And you have to do that once every couple of years, or else the settling pond stops being a settling pond and turns into a bog instead. But yeah, I did nothing, and it's really disappointing. And I'm kind of embarrassed about it in a way. But I did do some reading, so I guess that's kind of writing related.
Yeah, it's your learning. You're subconsciously training your brain for writing.
Yeah, well, yeah, I could be. I'm just creatively kind of spent right now for lots of reasons, and yeah, hopefully this will help. And there's nothing new on my running list of future things to do.
Yeah, mine's the same too. Although I do need to get to book one's map that I want to draw, or have somebody draw, or figure out how to draw of the manufacturing plant to get in there. Where was I at? I think it was in our book club last week. They were that's what it was. We were in our book club. We were talking about James and Huck Finn and how they were on the Mississippi River, and there were times where we weren't sure, are they near Missouri? They mentioned Missouri every now and then. I couldn't tell. Illinois is here. They talked about Ohio. Didn't know where they were. And then somebody in the writers group I had nothing to do with the book club, talked about how they would have liked to have seen a map. They're like, everybody likes maps. In my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is what I'm going to do for every one of these books. It makes me happy that somebody else said they would have liked to have seen a map. So I'm going to do these drawings in each book. That's basically going to be a map. What does the manufacturing plant look like? What does the golf course look like? That whole deal for each one. So one thing that I didn't mention. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, there's definitely a segment of readers that like to see the geographic layout of where the story is taking place. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't care. It really depends on what the story is. If it's a big epic tale, like Lord of the Rings or something, it's really nice to see, how things relate to each other. Although the maps in those were just horrible.
Okay.
They didn't really give any sense for the majestic sweep of the countryside that they were moving through. So.
I didn't mention that we had our writers side, my book club Wednesday, my writers club Thursday. And again, not much in there. It's, I read what I read. They give me a couple of suggestions here and there, but there's nothing ever this big sweeping, I don't like the character like it used to be, or I don't like this, or you shouldn't do this. So I'm always happy about it, but I'm always a little bit disappointed to not get more feedback.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Well, you mentioned that reminds me that this past Thursday I did do something. We had our book club meeting where we discussed the book that is now escaping my mind what the title is. But I made the mistake. I'm in there with a bunch of women. Okay, so there was 10 of us. 9 of them were women, and a lot of them were are women who grew up during the strong feminist era in the 70s. And I accidentally got myself crossways with some of them about something I said.
What joke did you make?
I know I didn't make a joke. It was actually something, that was just straightforward, about me having to, realizing that, I have to kind of take care of my sister. And suddenly it was, why do you think you have to take care of your sister? Maybe she will have to take care of you. And, it was one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was that witchy book. Why can't I think of the title of it? It was really...
I don't remember. I remember you talking about it many times. I just don't know what it's called. Yeah.
It was a good book.
Jumping down to my Addicted to, Rich, I just wrote in here God's Wonder Drug. So over the past years, I get to the golf course and somebody that I play with will say to the following, I just took one of these so my back won't hurt in a half an hour while I'm golfing. I'm like, okay, that's whatever. I don't know why you need to do that, but cool, that's fine. I was driving to Columbus yesterday morning, and out of nowhere, my right leg from the knee to the shin, knee to the ankle is throbbing pain. I don't know where it came from, why it's there. All I know is it hurt. I didn't kick anything. I have no idea what it was like a soreness that was uncomfortable. So I got to Brian's and we're sitting there. I'm watching football. I'm on his couch. I got my leg propped up. I'm doing everything I can. And finally, Brian says, I can go get you a couple of Aleve. And I was like, oh yeah, I always hear the golfers talk about that. But I guess I don't really know what it does. So he went and got me 2 of them, and they're like 200 milligrams or 225 milligrams. Mm-hmm. I took those suckers. Not gonna say, Rich. A half an hour later, I could have run a marathon.
Yeah,
like I was feeling. It was my leg. Even to now feels great. Like I don't know what was in there. I don't know what was wrong. And I asked Brian, I'm like, what do these do? And he's like, well, I think it just like blocks the pain. And I looked it up online. It looks like it like blocks your body from creating what causes the pain or something like that. I'm like, well, that doesn't really fix it. That just kind of masks the problem, right?
Right. I think it's anti-inflammation, and it's
okay, that's good.
If you've got inflammation around a nerve or something, a nerve trunk, then that would help a lot. It also helps if you pop a gummy with them too. So
I'm not doing that. I don't do that. So I'm calling it God's wonder drug.
Yeah.
And
it's probably the fact that you don't take it. A lot of those things, like all those analgesics that if you take them regularly or whatever, they kind of wear after a while. They just stop working. But if you very rarely take it, then they are like wonder drugs.
Yeah, is it the Flonase? The one that didn't get me dizzy between Flonase and whatever the other one is, Afrin. One of those two got me super dizzy earlier this year, but the other one, I remember I got it and I used it and it was like the greatest thing of all time. It completely unstuffed me. I was feeling so good, and I was talking to a friend of mine and she's like, yeah, you can't do that more than like 3 times. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, if you do that more than 3 times, your body understands what it's doing and it just stops reacting to it and may even make it worse. I read up on it online. It's like, holy crap, she's right.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering I hope the Aleve, I did my Walmart Plus order this morning. I ordered a nice bottle of Aleve, but I'm only ever going to take it if I have pain. I'm not going to just start popping them as a hopefully that keeping the pain away.
Right.
But the last 2 times I've golfed, including when I golfed Saturday, my lower back on the left side, hurts. And I don't know why. And don't say age, because that's what everybody says. And it's starting to get depressing. So anyway, that's my addicted to is God's wonder drug, Aleve.
Well, I'm addicted to God's wonder food, which is cookies. And I bought a family pack of Chips Ahoy chocolate chunk cookies this week and ate the whole thing. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And lost 3 pounds over the course of the week. So
I'm not sure how that works, but okay.
No, but I'm gonna try it again this week.
Yes. Well, I think I said this before. I was doing one of those diet contests years ago, and I would eat like a rabbit for 6 days, and then Friday I would go to Moe's Southwest Grill and get this giant quesadilla. And I would wake up the next morning, weigh myself, and I'd lose like 2 to 3 pounds. And I think it's because it just kicks my metabolism into gear on that Friday overnight, and boom, you wake up and you lost weight. So there could be something to that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the quesadilla, but it definitely protein does that. If you eat protein, it does increase your metabolism. So.
No, it was a chicken quesadilla, so maybe.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. All right, so and when I say I'm addicted to the Aleve, I don't mean literally addicted. I just took 1. I took 2. I just did it 1 time, and I have no plans to do it again until maybe next Saturday if my back starts to hurt. So just the people aren't calling the drug people on me here, taking away that straitjacket. Okay, so this coming week for me, again, my 3 weeks of craziness is finally over. Everything goes back to normal starting tomorrow. I'm going to be over the next 12 to 14 weeks. I'm going to be working 5-day work weeks unless there's a holiday. Fridays are going to be half days. I'm going to be writing like crazy and editing like crazy to get this stuff done. Tomorrow I'll go into the office and I'll try to figure out the best 2 days to go to work. I talked about doing Wednesday, Thursday, help me with the Monday night football and the Sunday night football and the Thursday night football. But Wednesday's traffic the last 2 weeks has been horrendous. Just getting out of Cleveland has been terrible. And I don't know why that is. Tomorrow I'm going to go into the office because Wednesday I have a dentist appointment. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. At lunch, I will jump into the rewriting of book 2. And then Wednesday, I'll be working from home. Like I said, I have the dentist appointment at 9 a.m. So I'll do that, and then I'll have to work through lunch to make up for the time I missed while I'm at the dentist. But this is the one day over the next 7 that I won't be writing. I'll be writing every other day except for that one, which is good. So Thursday, I'm back in the office. At lunch, I'll continue rewriting book 2. Wednesday, I'm working from home. It'll be a half a day. I'll shut my laptop at 11 a.m. and go somewhere, probably Buffalo Wild Wings, to continue book 2. I keep saying book 2. 1.5 is what I mean. Right. I'm rewriting book 1.5. That's what I mean to say. So do that Friday. Saturday, so I called yesterday the golf course because they have outings up there all the time now on the weekends. And the place where I'm a member, I golf for free, essentially. I can't do that because they have outings. So I called them yesterday and said, okay, what do you guys got? And they said, well, Sunday we have an outing, so we're closed. And Saturday, the earliest tee time's like 7:52. And I'm like, 7:52? I mean, where are all those early ones? And he said, well, they're all taken. And I said, and the guy who works Saturdays blocks off everything before 7 a.m. because he doesn't want to come in and work.
Right.
For whatever reason, the guy that runs the place lets him do that. I don't know why. And I said to John, I said, what if I come in at like 6:45? I have a cart key with me. I bring one home. So I have my own cart key. What if just me and Dave, the two of us, come up? We'll just get out before everybody. He's like, yeah, I'll write you here at 6:52. I'll just write you in where the X was, and you guys can just come up and go play.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go play Saturday morning. It's just me and Dave, and we'll be done by 9:30 at the latest. Yeah. We'll be done by 9:30. So that's about 2.5 hours. Maybe a little bit longer, but we'll get done quick.
Membership should be worth something. Yeah.
Well, it should have its privileges, right? Isn't that a thing?
Right, exactly.
So I'll come home and then I'll go work on book 1.5 some more. And then I'll come home and play my football game and all the stuff that I like to do. Sunday, there will be no golf. Dave can't golf on Sundays for the next few weeks. I'm just not going to. And there was an outing there anyway. So I'm going to get up in the morning and go write, keep working on book 1.5, and then come home and watch football all day. I'll watch professionals play football and I'll watch the Browns play football. Yeah. And then Monday I work, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do next week. I might do Monday, Thursday, just to I'm sure the traffic's going to be great on Monday compared to Tuesday, or worse Wednesday. Or I might try Wednesday, Thursday one more time. But either way, Monday I'll write at lunch. And the goal, I have 6 writing days out of the next 7 coming up. That's 3 work lunch breaks and 3 non-work lunch breaks, which by the math is 7,500 words. But instead of words, I'm going to just say my goal is to finish the first draft of book 1.5, the rewrite. I only want it to be like 8,000 to 10,000 words anyway, and I've already written 2,300. So 7,500 gets me to 9,700, which should be about the point where I'm finished with it. I'm not going to put a word count down, though. I'm just going to say finish 1.5 by this time next week. So.
Yeah, well, that's a good concrete objective, and it's probably better than word count, actually. Gives you, so give you more of a feeling of accomplishment, anyways.
Right. Yeah.
My week is looking like these weeks do, where I work 4 days and then I have a weekend off. Just be at the library tomorrow through Thursday, and then Friday through Sunday I have the days off. I have some concrete work to continue in the backyard. Hopefully, I'll be able to finish up the garden paths this coming weekend, and then. Starting next Monday, I'm back for another 7-day stretch of work, and after which I leave for a week to Detroit to celebrate my mother's 94th birthday. So,
is that 2 weeks from today when you leave?
2 weeks from. Yeah, I guess that would be 2 weeks from today.
So a Monday. 2 weeks from today is a Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, we'll figure out the podcast.
Okay. Actually, I'm not leaving until that Wednesday. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so okay. It will be
all
good.
Right.
And the thing I wanted to share, the podcast is called In Writing. It's hosted by Agatha Christie. She's done 5 or 6 seasons, and she runs her podcast in seasons. I'm not exactly sure how many episodes per season she has, but she releases them weekly during the season. And it's really good. They last for an hour to an hour and a half each, and she has one author. They're usually, at least the ones I've listened to, relatively new authors in the sense that they have maybe 1 or 2 books published. Traditional authors so far. And it's just a deep dive on their thought process and their writing process, and how their life has been as a writer, where they came from, where they're going. It's just really interesting.
We need to get on that podcast, Rich. We should be guests.
Yeah, really. You
Come on.
should get on that podcast once you get a book or two out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
That'd
have
be-
3 out now, but once
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So,
But once you get to the point where you're really pushing
yeah.
something, then it'll be a good time to do it.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think of that. God, I'm terrible at promoting myself. I shouldn't do it now. I should approach her in 6 months or something like that. So, my stuff to share is I wrote in the outline a new writing tool, but it's not like the writing tools that I usually do, which is like writing software or some software. I'm just going to hold this up to the camera and I'm just going to say what it is. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Rich. It's a Stream Deck, and I'm sure you've seen it on YouTube channels that you watch.
Probably, yeah.
So this is made originally for streamers on Twitch or on YouTube. So like, I could use it right now for what we're doing, to play the music or stop recording or play the applause or whatever, that kind of thing. But I started watching some videos. I've been interested in it for a couple of months. I started watching some videos a couple of weeks ago, and people are talking about how they use it in other facets of their computerized world. Some people will set it up for their Teams meetings at work, so you can easily exit Teams or you can mute. You can do that kind of thing. I started thinking, how can I use this as a writer? And I started programming it on my computer in the other room, so it's not plugged in back here. But I have a Scrivener button. I have a button that when I push it, it opens up 5 different web pages in tabs in Chrome, and it's the 5 that I use when I sit down to write, which would be like my podcast outline, my yearly summary, my story grid stuff. I'll open up Atticus nowadays because I'm putting stuff in there. So you can program it to just one button and it opens all those things. I'll probably create another button that opens up BookBrush, another one that opens up BookFunnel that I can just press. Now, I know what you're saying. You're probably not saying this. I know what you're thinking if you're thinking this, which is, how hard is it to go to your computer, open Chrome, and click your bookmark? Well, it's easy. It's also easy to walk across the street, the room, and change the channel. But I have one of these,
right?
So it's easier this way. And opening the 5 web pages at once is pretty cool. And I think there's other things. One thing I want to do with it is in Scrivener. You can program to these things and do anything. This one has 15 buttons, but it actually has pages. Mm-hmm. So you can have hundreds of buttons in here. And this is the 15 button one. Right. You can have hundreds of buttons in here. And it's cool because you do it all on your computer and then the images show up on here, the Stream Deck. Like it's a really neat. I paid $129 for it. It's a really neat piece of software. One thing I want to do is in Scrivener, I have a lot of trouble with formatting. I'll be typing in my novel format. I'll hit enter and it reverts back to the format that comes with Scrivener. It's a pain in the ass. It's my biggest gripe. It's my only gripe with Scrivener is the formatting of text. It's always changing back and forth. I always have to keep the formatted text that I like at the bottom so that I can backspace all the way to where I am, hit enter a bunch of times, and it puts that format in there. And as I'm typing, it's fine. But if I accidentally hit enter the wrong time, boom, back to the old format. Drives me crazy. With this, so what I'll do is I'll hit Control A, and then I'll go to Format, and I'll hit Novel Format, and boom, there it is. Well, if there's a shortcut for that, I can just put it into the Stream Deck, and when I'm done with a page in Scrivener, I just push the button, and it does it all on me. Because you can program it to any key combination, any mouse moving. One thing I'm looking at my screen right now, and I have Riverside on the left that we're using to do the podcast. It's about 60-40. So 40% of it is Riverside and 60% of it is the outline. So I'm looking this way as I'm talking and reading from the outline. You can actually set it up so when you push the button, it'll open both web pages and size them exactly how you want and put them where you want on the screen. So I could do that, and then when I'm ready to podcast, just hit one button, it opens everything the way I want to have it. So there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with this. I want to do it with my APBA football game. For example, when I played the intro earlier, I have to kind of look down and go, okay, media, and then click it and hit it here. I can program one button to do all that. Like, it's fantastic. So I'm excited by this. It's going to take me some time to set the whole thing up because you can do so much with it. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to work on this over the next couple weeks. I'm going to set up a writing profile for myself, and then I'll just carry this little thing. I mean, it's magnetized, so I can just take this off.
Okay.
And now you just have a flat surface. But I'll just carry it with me in my book bag with like a mouse, and I'll take it to work with me, and I'll plug it in. I'll use it for Teams. I'm sure I can use it for programming and things that I do at work. Yeah. It's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to get it set up. But I'm going to try to set it up as a writing tool. I'll take it to Buffalo Wild Wings with me and just set it beside my laptop. I don't care. And see what happens. So yeah.
And it really has nothing to do with how easy it is to do something else relative to that or anything. It's the fact that it's a new toy, technological toy.
100%.
So, yeah.
100%. Yeah. So that was probably the main reason I bought it.
That's right. So that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. So All right, that's all I have for this week. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm done. I've been done.
That is going to be the podcast for this week. If you want to get in touch with me, you can email me, jerry@jerryevanoff.com. The website is jerryevanoff.com. And real quick, I mentioned this to you earlier. I am going to, we're going to record this today. It's Monday, September 15th. I'm going to wait until September 17th, Wednesday, to post it, just because I want to fool around with some of it, do a little bit of editing, maybe try to come up with some promotional material based on what we're talking about, different things you can do with it. So, if you open this thing up and it says, hey, it's Monday, and you're like, no, I just downloaded it. It's Wednesday or Thursday. Well, that's why. So, yeah.
And my email address, if you want to talk to me, is rich@richcasey.com. And that's Casey with a K. And I can be found on Blue Sky at Casey himself.
All right, everyone, that's going to be it for this week. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a great week.